All right, what is up, guys? Today we're gonna do a rare microwave and run because I still have the delicious blueberry coffee left over from yesterday, and since that was basically the last time I can make it because I'm out. I didn't have enough grounds to do another one, so we poured it into the bin. As soon as I find my coffee mug, which is down here in the studio, we're going to pour it in there and heat it up real quick. I ended up not drinking the coffee for two reasons. One, I was running around like crazy yesterday. I'm actually going to clean the mug out like I didn't the other day. But after I finished recording the videos, I spent like 4 hours editing some YouTube descriptions and stuff like that. And then I went out, I went grocery shopping, and I did my Christmas shopping. I I think I managed to do all right, you know? And kind of want to talk about the opposite today of what I talked about yesterday. Two things. First of all, again, like when I mentioned I was struggling to afford uh, Christmas this year, that was in no way any kind of plea for help or whatever. Please do not send any money or anything. There are people who need it a lot more during this time of year, right? I managed to make everything work. I am a survivor. If I ever actually need something, I will explicitly say it, right? I hate any kind of like e-begging shit. I feel like that's really gross. So I just want to reiterate that I don't need help. Uh, I will admit that sometimes I'm not great at asking for help when I do need it, because I do always have this mentality of, well, I'll figure it out on my own eventually. But that is absolutely not the case of what's going on right now. I was just kind of heartbroken that I can't. I would spend $1,000 on each family member for Christmas if I could, but I can't, you know? So that was kind of eating at my soul because I still feel like the gifts won't really be good enough, but I am putting a lot of effort into it to do my best. But what I really want to talk about specifically today, it's more something I learned about myself when I was out doing that, right? I got more coffee, but you know what I forgot to get? I even looked at it. So I'm really mad at myself about my shopping yesterday simply because I forgot to get honey. So in the morning, I generally drink Earl Grey with honey and coconut milk, which, like, that's why I don't need help, right? I could sit there and drink Earl Grey with honey and coconut milk, and there are lots of people that it's like they don't even have water, right? So I got two more cases yesterday. I have no issues with water. Let me get this started. About 2 minutes. The problem with microwaving coffee is that it will absolutely burn. Uh, Unlike tea, that's one of the reasons I like doing tea in the morning. One, I don't have to do the whole coffee pot thing. I just put a little bit of tea and then the raw honey and the Aldi's coconut milk. That's the only coconut milk I actually like in my coffee and tea, is the Aldi one for whatever reason. But that's what I'll do in the morning. I'll make a breakfast sandwich. I'll make an Earl Grey with coconut milk and raw honey, and then I'll get my day started. And then the second thing I do is make coffee, and usually that's when I make these videos, right? So, unfortunately, I'm out of raw honey, and I feel so dumb because I stopped and I looked at the honey aisle, and I was like, do I need that? I didn't write it down on the list. I had a list of things that I needed. Mostly it was things I noticed were expired. So I don't go through a lot of syrup, like maple syrup. It's not actual maple syrup. It's just high fructose corn syrup that's designed to taste like maple syrup, you know? And the cooking spray. Those two things were both out of date. So I noticed that during a recent cooking video when I made the French toast, actually. So I wrote those down, then I got my normal things, and then I got some things to help with, for Christmas for people. And I was like, I think I got everything. I was like, do I need the honey? No, I think I'm good. I needed the honey. I have no honey in the house. Not even like shitty, highly processed honey. I've got absolutely no honey to speak of. So I had to use sugar in my tea this morning. Poor me, right? But one of the things I did realize about it is recently I have been lamenting about the fact that I didn't really seem to appreciate a challenge the way I used to, you know? Especially when it comes to like hardcore gaming or even things I would just do for fun. I would sit there, and these days I'm far more likely not to go to immediately the hardcore, most challenging option. Sometimes I don't even do that anymore. No, hey kitty. He's just in the cupboard for some reason. Sometimes he likes to do that. We'll see if he comes back out when I put the sugar back. I did try raw honey in my coffee because it's better for you than processed granulated sugar. At least that's my understanding. I didn't like it. It might work better with certain coffees, but it doesn't work with every coffee the same way. No, you want to come out this time, or are you going to stay in there? You staying in there? Okay, Kat. So, need my spoon. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I've wondered if I'm like losing my edge somewhat, because I know that happens to some people, especially when they get old. You know, like I think the best example right now is Anthony Fantano, which the guy, I used to have some respect for him, but it seems like every time I hear anything about him, I somehow reach a new level of zero respect for that guy, right? So it's like every time I see him post something new, and I don't even watch his channel anymore. I unsubscribed from him a long time ago, I think. He's got two channels, Fantano and the Needle Drop. Needle Drop's where more where he does music reviews, and Fantano is more like where he does commentary. Um, there's nothing worth watching on either of those channels anymore. It's like every time I hear about him, he's just somehow hitting a new low. Like when I thought that dude was always already at rock bottom, he will somehow find a way to dig himself deeper. And I think it's just because he's lost so much relevance and so much respect in the internet world these days that the only thing he has left is rage baiting, right? And that's kind of always been a little bit part of his shtick, but he's lost so much legitimacy and respect in the eyes of most people that no one pays attention to him anymore unless he's rage baiting. And the most recent thing he said is, it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. He said Asmongold is a racist because he said DDG was view botting. I don't know what view botting has to do with racism, but I mean, I guess that's the fucking liberal woke mind virus. And it's insane that I'm saying this, right? Because if you know me, you probably know that I'm definitely more on the left leaning side, right? I'm pro civil rights, pro universal basic income. I'm also pro firearms and pro capitalism, but I'm a left leaning capitalist, you know? But it's like the left is so fucking, you know what? I don't really like using the word, but it's really the only word that applies these days. The general left has become so retarded these days that even though I'm more on the left myself, I often end up agreeing with the conservatives on a lot of shit just because the left is saying the most stupid, evil shit possible. It's like, how did they fall this far? And I think that's what Fantano is doing now. It's just leftist grifting, right? He's just borrowing from the Hassan Piker playbook. And it's the stupidest shit. And interestingly enough, so I watched one of the slop tubers, Sensitive Society, when I was drinking my tea because I wanted to get the tea while drinking the tea, you know? And he had clips from both sides. And Asman's response to this was like, man, you got old. Like, when did you like stop being funny and entertaining and just become a crotchety old man? And it's so true. And I was like wondering, is that me too? Because on the one hand, I'm like more unhinged and edgy and willing to say shit than ever before, right? Like, talked about my whole experience with being sexually assaulted and all that stuff. I'm calling people out for whatever evil bullshit ranting about my fucking phone constantly running out of space because of all this goddamn planned obsolescence and dark patterns where they just want to force you to buy more fucking internet cloud space. The voice cracked. Dude, I don't think my voice has cracked since I was like 17 years old. I wasn't like warmed up really because like I just spent like 2 or 3 minutes deleting shit to make space. But perfect. So, anyways, clearly I am definitely not getting old yet. At least not in the way that Anthony Fantano is. Getting out of bed in the morning ain't quite as easy as it used to be, although admittedly I was never that type. I don't drink anymore mostly for two reasons. Headaches, sometimes even just when I'm drinking, and just hangovers hit different when you're 35, and 30 really. I haven't had a hangover in like 2 or 3 years probably. But I've been like wondering on some level if I'm losing my edge, even though I've spent more time honing it than ever before. And I realized while I was out, not during the grocery shopping, afterwards, when I was doing Christmas shopping, trying to see what is the best possible things I can get for my family on the budget I have. I didn't even realize then. It was when I got back and when I felt like I succeeded. I sat down for a moment and I was just proud of myself because I felt like I did a really good job. I'm not done entirely yet. There's still one aspect of it I need to work on, and then I need to put the whole thing together. I came up with like a little package for each person that I'm really excited about, actually. But when I sat there for a moment and I just had like a little bit of that stress release and I was able to think clearly, drink. Well, I wouldn't have been. You know what I was drinking? I was drinking Baja Blast because my sister got me a Taco Bell gift card for my birthday back in October, and I was like, you know what? Today's the day. That's part of the reason why I did. I was thinking about streaming yesterday, but that's part of the reason why I didn't end up streaming last night. I got a huge Baja Blast. I got a cheesy gordita crunch. I got a 5 layer beefy burrito. I got they have like spicy fries or whatever, and I got a couple of the Cinnabon delights, and I ate all that shit, and then I just like fell asleep into a food coma afterwards. But I was sitting there sipping the Baja Blast, pretty proud of myself for managing to do what I feel is pretty well. Like it's not what I really want to get everyone. Like I'd love to get them each like uh a nice electronic or cutting edge device with like a personal message laser etched into everything if I could, right? But that's definitely not in the budget. But I still felt like I did pretty good with limited resources I have, and that's what I realized. Um, the whole reason that I don't really seek out those challenges like I did, where I would do things just because it was difficult, is uh, because my whole life is difficult. Every waking moment for me is a challenge at this point. So, where in like high school and college, where everything was so easy, um, I was like, yeah, I want to do the hardcore uh PvP games where like I am constantly beating my head against the wall because I undock from a station in Eve and there's 30 people waiting to kill me type stuff. And I have to 1v30 them and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, give me that all the time. These days I'm more like, yeah, I'm gonna sit in Warframe and I'm gonna press a button and watch that thing get deleted, right? That's basically what it's like on Oberon. I'm more play. My main is Titania. I like flying around and just being like a little attack helicopter. I identify as an attack helicopter in Warframe. But with Oberon, those are my two mains. I think it's hilarious that my mains in the game are the king and queen of the fairies in Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, which is probably my favorite play of all time, by the way. and it just happens to be that I love their kits. Oberon has this ability called Smite where it armor strips and it deletes like 90% of their HP. So you just like press the Smite button and then you one tap them with a headshot and you kill everything that way, even if it's like level 9999, which is not a Hitler reference. It's just the highest level that things can hit. It's level cap because it's a maximum of 4 digits for the level. But I definitely much more play power fantasy games these days. And if it's some type of PvP game, I generally power fantasy and story games are a lot more what I play these days instead of like the hardcore PvP shit that I played in high school and uh college, and that's because real life is my PvP server, you know? So it's just like I realize that I'm not getting soft. I'm not losing my edge. I am harder and edgier than ever before. It's just that I spend all day, every day, cutting through bullshit. So, you know, like any sword, regardless of what material it's made out of, cutting down your enemies all day is going to blunt the blade a little bit. So these days, my gaming is much more relaxed because it's just taking it to the whetstone, you know, or the grindstone, whatever you want to use, to relax after a long day of dealing with all the bullshit that is my life, you know? And like I said, I have it better than a lot of people. I can get my Earl Grey tea with coconut milk and raw honey when I don't forget to buy honey every single morning. And there are people that don't even have water. I have 8 cases of water here in case the United States collapses with all the crazy shit going on. I'm set up for probably about 2 weeks. I need more canned food, but it's the best I could do on a budget, right? It's one of those things where I've got, compared to a lot of people, a pretty good life, but it's definitely not an easy life. You know, it's not the easy life my parents or grandparents lived, where they just woke up, they went to work, and they made enough money to pay for everything. It's like that's never been a reality for me. Even when I had a pretty well paying job, it still just wasn't enough because of rent and student loan payments and all that stuff. There's just way too much bullshit these days. So I realized yesterday, after I succeeded with what I feel is a pretty good job of getting some presents for my family, that I'm not soft. I'm harder than ever. It's just that life is tougher than ever too, at least for me, right? Compared to where it's been in the past. And uh those moments where I wondered, like, why is it that I just don't enjoy EVE Online or Tarkov the way I used to anymore? It's because back when I enjoyed those a lot, well, one, EVE Online just sucks now. The game went downhill, and so did Tarkov. But I stopped playing Tarkov before the whole, hey, we know you said that if you buy this one like $200 game pack, it'll be permanent access to everything we release in the game for free forever. But now you need to buy this other like $500 game pack to actually access this new game mode or whatever the fuck exactly it was. I don't know the exact prices. But I quit long before that. I stopped playing when they changed the uh the limit to use the market from like level 5 to level 10. And it was like, so wait a minute. I already had to grind 5 levels just to be able to trade to make a decent kit. And now I need to grind like 4 times longer than that because it's one of those things. I don't know exactly what the arc is, but it gets exponentially higher each time, right? It's a curve. It's not linear as to how much XP it takes to reach the next level. So I was like, uh, 5 levels to get shit on by whales who can just buy everything immediately from the vendors. Okay, I can kind of maybe deal with that. 10 levels? Oh, fuck no. Like, they're just trying to force me to buy EOD. That's why the dark patterns piss me off so much because I see right through them every single time. Well, not every single time. You know, some stuff definitely gets me. There's new information coming out about the Honey browser extension. And I did use that like years ago. I stopped using it long before everything happened with it, but that's not out of any type of. I wasn't like Linus Tech Tips where I was like, well, I knew it was evil, but I didn't tell anyone. Which it's like, okay, if you knew it was evil, then why didn't you tell anyone unless you're evil yourself and you're trying to cover for evil, right? Um, I have lost so much respect for Linus over the past few decades. I'm fully a Gamers Nexus stan. I don't actually stand for anyone, but if I had to stand for a tech channel, it would be Gamers Nexus. Steve, I'm jealous of your hairline if you ever see this. But basically, so the reason I stopped using Honey was just because I stopped having money to spend online, and it's like, why did I need an extra browser extension slowing my browser down and potentially collecting data when I wasn't spending money online anyways, right? When my life started getting pretty tough, and then it comes out that it's like they were doing more than just collecting your data. So I was like, oh, thank God I don't use that shit no more. Um, but yeah, so I had that little epiphany yesterday where I realized that I'm not losing my edge. I'm more honed and focused than ever before in my life. It's just that the reason why my gaming habits and like my and stuff like that has changed is simply because life is becoming so difficult that it has taken over that challenge mode that I used to do in the games. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love min maxing, right? I check the kill amounts and the damage amounts after almost every single mission in Warframe just to see how my build stacks up with others. And usually I'm lower on total damage because I don't do AoE damage. There are lots of Warframes out there these days that when with like max range and max damage, they press a button and they delete everything on the entire map, not just one thing like Oberon does. But uh, with Titanium, my main, I do a lot of single target damage. So it's while I may have like 30% of the team damage while someone else has 50% of the team damage, and it's usually like a 4 person team, and there's like always one guy that's like doing 7, and sometimes there's one guy that's like there's almost always that one guy that hasn't broken into the double digits of the team percentage, and it's just because of like the insane scaling of the power fantasy in Warframe. where it's like there's always a bigger fish, you know? But it's like that guy that has 50% of the team damage while I only have 30% of the team damage, he'll have like maybe 200 kills and I have 3 or 400 kills. And it's primarily because I do more single target damage. Like if I put my reticule on something, it disappears. If I aim my guns at something, it's gone. But for those other AoE frames, right? He's gonna deal damage to everything on the map. So it's like he deals 1/4 of the health to every enemy on the map. So it's like, meanwhile, I'm dealing significantly more damage to bosses and things like that, especially once I get my status procs all set up. So I'm still I still am super competitive. Like the whole reason I can't play competitive on Marvel Rivals is cuz I get so frustrated by how dumb my teammates are that I'm like it is not a fun experience for me. So whenever I play Marvel Rivals, it's always casual because I can't get a team together that's willing to play at the level I want to play. And there's just a fucking Jeff or a Spider Man that is going like 0 kills and 20 deaths. And I'm like, I just want to go hot mic and be like, play casual, you fucking incompetent loser idiot, you know? But I'm not gonna do that because I do my best to be kind to people. So that's why I just don't play competitive uh Marvel Rivals at all unless I'm like grouping up with people and they're like, hey, we're gonna squad. Then I'll be like, okay, cool. These are my characters. Let's see what kind of team comp we can get going type shit. But like no one in Marvel Rivals actually wants to do that. They're just like, I'm gonna play Jeff and I'm gonna do nothing until I can use my alt and like get 2 people off the edge of the map and it does nothing to help the team. And it's like, can you please just play an actual good healer for once? Or you have the Spider-Man. That's it. Spider-Man is the Genji of Marvel Rivals. I have seen 1 or 2 good Spider-Mans that will like absolutely shit on people. I once so I my main DPS is a uh Iron Man. I'll go like 30-1 with him sometimes because lots of people just don't look up and it's kind of funny. Or even if they do, as long as I have a good healer that knows to look up and hit me with heals every so often, I can just run train on people. If I don't have a good healer, I need to spend half the map flying to half the match flying towards health packs, and then I go like 15-1. But I remember one match I had to switch off Iron Man because I was getting pressed by a Spider-Man. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I can't do anything. This Spider-Man is just crawling up my ass. That was like the best Spider-Man I've ever seen. So it's very much like Genji, where it's like most of them are just terrible. It's like the guy is going to feed into the enemy team when they're not even there yet. And he's going to respawn and use his movement abilities to actually die twice to the enemy team before the rest of your team even gets into a team fight. And then it's like the first team fight, but the other team already has their ults because they've just kept killing Spider-Man while you're trying to walk across the map. And it's just so frustrating. So that's why I don't play competitive in Marvel Rivals unless I'm like squatting up with friends or something. And it's just like I know I still have that edge, that fire, but like I couldn't put all the pieces together until yesterday. It was like, why is it though that instead of going in to Marvel Rivals and trying to solo queue up ranks and just accept that we're going to have the Spider-Man feed and be like, how do I win this even with Spider-Man feeding? I'm like, you know what? I am going to go play Warframe and just delete an entire map of enemies with very little effort. It's because my actual real life is so difficult at this point that I'm getting that challenge just from trying to survive, right? And I think maybe that's one of the issues with a lot of the world and especially the United States right now. Like you see people like Hassan Piker in particular who have lived these super easy, super what word am I looking for? Blessed. That's the perfect word. These super blessed lives where it's like the dude is a political grifter nepo baby, right? He has a uncle who's a political grifter who got him a job being a political grifter, and he's basically just rid the political grifter. I'm a socialist, but I'm also extremely rich because of capitalism lane for his entire life. And the dude just crashes out over the littlest thing because he's probably never experienced any real challenge in his life. Now, I'm not going to say that content creation isn't hard. In some of the ways, it is one of the most difficult jobs because the amount of hours that it takes and the amount of things you have to do, at least at my level, by yourself. Maybe for Hassan, it's probably pretty easy because, like, I spend more time doing back end stuff. Like, I've been tracking all my hours using Toggle recently. Like, 60% of my time is back end stuff. That's why I stream so little. It's why I upload. I mean, I'm uploading a lot of videos, but it's like that's why I stream so little these days. It's because it's like for every hour of stream time, I need to do 2 or 3 hours of things that I can't do while I'm streaming that just need to be done. But it's like you have these super blessed people like Hassad there. It's just like, oh yeah, I pay someone to do that. Just like I pay someone to fucking clean my $10 million mansion for me, you know? Meanwhile, I got to deal with this shit before the parents come up for Christmas. You know, I like this is the goal for today is to clean up the house, the kitchen. Now that I still need to finish the gifts, but now that they're mostly ready and I just got to put them together, I've got probably an entire day or two worth of cleaning to do before everyone shows up. I don't know if I'm going to even get it all done. I'm going to prioritize the most important things. And the rest, I can be like, yeah, I didn't get to that yet. Like, the one thing that, the last thing on the list is the massive pile of cardboard back here. And this all exists because of bullshit. That's like 2 years of cardboard. I'm not even joking. The bullshit recycling laws or like requirements up here where I can't convince myself to just throw it away, but I also want to. So I want to recycle all of it, but I like don't have the time to comply with all the bullshit recycling that they have specifically for cardboard, right? The bottles and cans aren't that bad. I just got to wash them out, make sure there's no food. But cardboard, it's like you got to take an SAT test before they'll accept your cardboard, man. So really what I'm probably going to do eventually is get all of it in a big black contractor bag and store some of it in the basement so I can use it, or actually probably put it out in the shed maybe, so I can use it as kindling in case, shit hits the fan and I need to make fire to keep myself warm. throughout the winter. But then the rest of it, I'm probably just going to throw it out at this point. Because really, like, how important is it to recycle cardboard compared to like plastic, which will totally seep in and destroy the environment? The worst thing about cardboard is the dye, but for the most part, it's paper. And some of it is like plasticized paper, so there might be some forever chemicals in there, but not like a water bottle, right? So for the most part, that stuff's just gonna disintegrate in the landfill, be relatively all right. But it's just all that type of shit. It's like when you live a blessed life like Hassan Piker, then everything is taken care of for you. Your life is so easy, and yet I'm not saying he doesn't have his own issues because there's the whole more money, more problems things, of course. But it's like I finally realize why I don't really appreciate the super edgy, hardcore, this is making me feel miserable type of shit video games anymore. Like the whole idea of going into Tarkov and getting instant tapped from my spawn by someone that's using aim hacks. It's just not even happening. I haven't had Tarkov installed on my PC for like 4 years now, you know? I would like to get Arc Raiders eventually, but the primary reason I want Arc Raiders is to play with my friends, right? I have a cousin, at least 2 or 3 cousins, maybe like 5 cousins that are playing Arc Raiders. I have at least 4 or 5 friends that I've seen playing Arc Raiders. I would love to get that to play with them, but am I going to do a bunch of solo queues and try and take on an entire lobby by myself like I did in Tarkov? Well, I would in Tarkov, one of my favorite things to do was I would like RP being a Spec Ops commando, and I would load into a night raid solo and see if I could complete my quest objective. And that was a lot of fun to me. These days, I'm like, nah, I'd rather just like finally play Horizon Zero Dawn or Dragon's Dogma, fire up one of those games, or group up with Warframe and like grind out my Incarnans or something like that. And for like the past year, as I've noticed my gaming tendencies shift, I was like, did I lose my edge? And it's like, no, it's just that all that energy is being spent elsewhere now. And I feel like it's both a good and a bad thing. One of the things I want to do is start doing MMA. I would love to learn some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But because I spend so much mental energy just trying to survive at the moment, I I find it's very difficult to push myself even to do my regular workouts, you know? I've been good about doing push-ups again, but doing the whole workout right now, I see that and I'm like, I can do push-ups in less than a minute, or I can spend 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how many sets of the reps I do, doing this workout. But I don't have time for that because then how am I going to work on fixing my financial situation, right? So the whole idea of like going even once a week, let alone multiple times a week or anything like that, to an MMA gym, or even once a month, it's like I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money for any kind of MMA dues or anything like that. So it's just like hopefully I can turn things around in 2026. I'm going harder than ever. I have a very important special video that I'm working on. In some ways, I think it might be my biggest video ever which is ironic because it's going to be like one of the first big videos I ever do. I feel like there's going to be a whole thing if it blows up. Well, how do you intend to follow that? I don't. It's going to be a one-off thing. It's like I'm just going to fire it off and then I'm going to keep going uh back. I do have other things I want to do that are similar, but I don't think any of them will be as epic as the video I'm working on right now. It's truly inspired, and it's one of those things that once you do it, you can't really do it again. I guess I could do it again, just make that my entire gimmick, but that's not what I'm planning on doing. It's just, it was a moment of creative inspiration, and I was like, yeah, I need to do that. And it's been 7 years, I think, since I originally had that inspiration. I'm finally at a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't care how much extra work or how difficult my life is while I'm working on this. It just needs to be done. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. And I've worked on it a little bit this week, but things are different because of the holiday, of course. I really wanted to get it done by the end of the year, but I don't think that's possible now. Um, the plan now is the end of January. And that's also because I've leveled up what the plan for the video was. Originally, the video was going to be just like not low effort, but minimum viable product, we'll say. But at this point, I'm like, I can do better. So I've just been talking in circles. The every time the video gets interrupted, it really throws me off my flow, and then it makes the videos longer because I like reset my brain. I want this video to be like 30 minutes, which is what this half of the video is, but because like it got bifurcated by Google's terrible design bullshit, which was designed that way on purpose to try and force you to buy extra space. Um, I've now extended it probably 20 minutes longer than I wanted because of how ever long is on the first half of the video. So, one of the things I want to do this week that I haven't had time is actually go through my phone and just delete everything simply because there's just not enough memory on this phone. It's like insane how little memory they put on this phone in 2025, where like one 15-minute video is going to use up my remaining memory. And then I go and I try and marry the videos together, and I need to delete 2 other videos to be able to actually hold the space of that memory. But there's like unposted videos that I haven't had time to go through, and probably some that I've lost. So that's another thing I want to do. Maybe we'll do that after Christmas, is just go through my phone, find all these videos, delete everything, get it wiped back down. I probably got to cleanse some apps to clear the memory caches, all that stuff. And it's like, well, why doesn't that happen on purpose? Well, it's because if Facebook uses up 1/4, I don't even use Facebook really, except for like family events. But this is just an example. I remember it always being bad with using up memory, where it's like, oh, well, if Facebook is using up 1/4 of your memory, then you're far more likely to buy that extra cloud memory, It's just all so much evil bullshit, because how hard is it to make Facebook just have a hard limit where it's like, yeah, we're not going to store more than like one 1/100th of your memory in cache or whatever. And it's not hard. It's very, very easy. It's like just a couple lines of code. But they don't want to do that because then they make less money. The amount of greed these days is fucking insane. But yeah, I'm done ranting for the day, I guess, unless you stop by the stream later. I am planning on streaming later today, finally. I want to stream Warframe. There are things I'm working in the game that I want to do. There's a cool event going on right now in Warframe that I highly suggest you log in and do, because there's the opportunity to earn a bunch of arcanes, and it's a bunch of arcanes that I've never had maxed. It is the easiest way I've ever seen to obtain these arcanes. So just log in, run the event things, and you will get so much event currency that you can max all these arcanes in less than a week, a couple days if you really, really grind it. I've been doing it kind of passively. So I'm only like a third of the way done, maybe a half of the way done. But it's like if I do it on stream for like 4 or 6 hours, I should be able to finish it at this point, you know? So it's one of those things where I also want to adjust my build a little bit. I'm looking into putting different subsumes on Titania. I also want to farm a couple frames to feed to the helmets to use those subsumes. So there's a lot of content I want to do. I just don't have time to do it yet. And maybe I find a little bit of time today, but I got to clean the house up first, because I'm not a socialist that lives in a $10 million mansion. Hey, Hassan, if you care so much about redistributing the wealth, if you're so rich, why don't you send one of your maids here to help me clean up my house for Christmas, so that my mom doesn't spend all day doing it? Because I know that, like, I know if the countertops aren't like shining to the point where you could lick them and just like look at your own reflection in the kitchen countertops, my mom is going to spend half Christmas Day just like wiping down the countertops, and then I'm going to feel bad because that's not what it's about, right? So I got to spend most of the day just cleaning everything up. But if I get a certain level of threshold clean, or I just run out of steam to keep cleaning and I'm gonna do some actual gaming, then I'll go live. I thought about going live last night, but the food coma hit too hard. I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna call it an early night, and then we'll wake up and go hard tomorrow. We wake up and go hard every day, you know? So I will, regardless of whether or not I see you live on stream, almost certainly see you live. We'll see you in these videos tomorrow, because I probably won't do one Christmas Day, because like when my family's here, that's gonna have all my focus, and I think they're coming up Christmas Day. But up through that, just the grind never stops, you know? So just want to say I love all of you, and God bless America. Cheers.